So today I am joined by the wonderful Narinder Kaur. Now, you might remember Narinder from Big Brother in an iconic season back in season 2 with Bubble and Helen and Paul. Now, what I want to know is what Narinder's been up to since she's left the series. So let's find out. Hello, Narinder.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, I'm a bit frustrated and rageful about the lockdown.
Oh,
I'm one of those that can't cope with it. The whole family struggled. We struggle. I mean, I'm in Leicester, so we've been in lockdown non-stop. So
oh
it's
my
been
God.
really frustrating, to be honest.
Oh God,
But
it's
your question, what
yeah,
have I been doing that side? It's been nearly 20 years. I've had 2
20
kids.
years.
I've done TV. I've done radio. I've done so much. I've wrote a book.
Wow.
Um, I'm an influencer now. I do matchmaking. I've done a lot in those 20 years. It's been a
Oh,
long time.
it has
But
been a long
you
time. We're going to
asked
come back
me.
to your matchmaking a little bit later, but we need to talk about everything that you've been doing. So obviously, iconic Big Brother. Let's start from the beginning, and that's going back to 2001. So yes, a
Yeah.
long time ago. And so what made you even enter Big Brother of all things?
You know, I didn't really get into the first one. And then by the end, the whole of Britain was talking about it. And all of my friends, oh, you must watch it, you must watch it. And then I watched it in the last, I can't remember, 3 weeks and got really addicted. Anyway, forgot about it, thinking everyone thought it was just a one-hit wonder. And then I remember it was Christmas time. I was a medical rep at the time. And then the advert came on to audition. I remember thinking, because I'd always wanted to be famous. Ever since I was little, my dream was to be famous. And when people wanted to be a nurse or doctor or whatever, teacher, mine was to be famous. That was it. Not, I don't know what in, whatever. I did have an acting background, but I wanted to be famous. So when that advert came up, could you be the next contestant in Big Brother? I remember thinking, okay, I'll just apply.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing went on from Christmas all the way until, God, when did we go in the house? May. In that I applied, and then they phoned me, and then there was another application, then another audition, then another, and this was literally every few weeks. And in the beginning, I mean, I'm really cutting the story short. You know, you'd got the auditions and think, I've got no chance. And I remember thinking I didn't get on with anyone, and we all argued. I argued with everyone. I mean, that's exactly the reasons they chose me.
Yeah.
But I thought they were the reasons that I would never get chosen, because it was only Big Brother 2. No
Yeah.
one knew anything about it. And the other thing about Big Brother 2 was we were constantly told by the producers, you won't get famous from it. You won't get, they really did give you the talk of doom. Don't expect this, don't expect that, because Big Brother 1 was a hit. In Britain, we have a history that the second series never is a hit. And especially with reality TV, it was very new. It was too new.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then I remember it was a week before Big Brother was about to start. I think it was about, exactly a week. It was a Friday. And I forgot about it, because my last audition would have been about 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. So I completely forgot, thinking they haven't chosen me. And then I got a phone call, and I remember being at the hairdressers, and they go, oh, it's Paul, the producer. And I was like, from what? And then I was like, oh, I didn't still think anything. And they goes, can you step outside the hairdressers? We don't want anyone to hear. And they goes, oh, you're going in the house. And I remember thinking, oh my God. I thought I haven't even told my family, like my mom, dad. And you've got to remember, back in the day, it still is very controversial. It was the same as an Indian girl saying she's going on Love Island.
I was
And
going to ask you actually, because you don't see that many Asian women, especially on Big Brother. So did you feel, you know, Asian women were kind of underrepresented, and then you've come on the scene, and it's like, pow, you know.
Well, I think there was no Indian women. There's no Indian girl still on Love Island.
Yeah.
Even Love Island, you'd never get an Indian girl. And there was none on. I think I was the first brown person that entered the house. The first Indian person that ever entered the house. And it was a shock to the Indian community in Britain, and it was a shock to the white community in Britain, and the black, and everyone was shocked. I think they had this preconceived idea that Indian women were quiet, subdued, newsreaders. If they were ever going to be on TV, it was a newsreader, if that. And I think they just, the way I was nothing like what they thought. So, you know, I was drinking, and I still kept my religious side. So it was a lot for people to take.
Yeah,
And,
but I
and
think
when
that's
I
what
came,
made you such a memorable character and like a force, and especially you paved the way for, even I remember watching you when I was younger, and it was like,
don't tell me you were like 2 or 3 years
no,
old.
it wasn't. Oh no, thank you. That would be great, but
You
no,
were
I
6.
wasn't. No, I was in my teens, but I remember watching, thinking, "Oh my God, there's an Indian woman on the TV," and I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So that was really good for someone like me. So I can imagine what a lot of other women felt
Oh,
like.
good.
So it
Yeah.
makes
No, I
it,
did get some fantastic. I mean,
accessible.
even though I had the press side was unbelievable. Like you're no one. You
Yeah,
go in as a no one,
yeah,
and you come out, and people know your name.
yeah,
People are screaming your name. You have security. You have people like famous people were phoning me. Kylie Minogue wanted to meet me, and Chris Moyle wanted me on his show that night, and Britney Spears wanted me to do a segment with her. Pink wanted to go out with me, like for a night out in London. And I had to say no to Pink because I was with
wow.
Britney.
You had to say
That's
no to pink.
because I was with Britney Spears.
Oh well,
I could
that's
already
okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I would have bothered Pink, but I'd already signed a contract with Britney. So that was the extent of the fame was huge. But when
Insane.
you come out, you were a no one. This
Mm,
is overnight. And then
yeah.
it's really tough. It's shocking.
Mm,
And it affects your whole family.
yeah.
The
Goodness.
whole family become, oh, you're Narinder's mum, you're Narinder's sister, you're Narinder's husband, you're Narinder's. It becomes like it's a
Do you
pebble
feel
and
like
it
it
affects
affected?
everyone.
Did you feel like it affected you, like personally? Was it a good thing? Because obviously you always wanted to be famous, so it must have been amazing.
The
But
fame, yeah.
yeah,
The
but did it
fame
affect
was,
you? Like
yeah, so
mentally or
it was very
anything?
bad. Yeah,
Mm,
there was lots of bads as well. There was lots of the fame was fab. When I look back on it all, I think, wow, I've had experiences no one will ever have.
mm,
So that was amazing. But then the bad is very bad. You
mm,
have to be a very strong person to take on the British press. And the
yeah,
British press are ruthless,
yeah.
ruthless. And the amount, every day I was in the papers, every single day I was in the papers for, they'd just make up stories. Or I was going out a lot and they'd photograph me, looking a bit horrible. And then they'd put in this, and they'd write this story, then they'd write this story every single day. And then it got to a point where people would phone me and say, oh, have you seen page 17 of The Sun? And I'd sit there thinking, oh God, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't sue the papers because then they'd go out for you more. And it became horrible. It was hard to deal with. It was depressing, constant. And it was constant, 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 constant. And it did get to a point where, wow. But then, I don't know. There was good and bad,
Yeah.
but you have to be a strong character. And I'm a strong character. And
Yeah.
it broke me. So I don't know what it would have done for anyone else.
Well, I mean, I can tell just from speaking to you a couple of times that like you do come across like a force of nature, and you're a real independent kind of amazing woman that comes across like that.
Ah, that's kind. Thank
So
you.
that's all right. That's how it comes across. But Big Brother finishes, and then this might explain why you then re-entered in 2004 as Baroness Hardup.
Oh, the panto. Yeah, the
Yeah,
pantomime with Goody.
yeah,
That was another great experience because it was pantomime and it was all filmed and it was like the Big Brother house.
yes.
And I got to meet the Big Brother people from other series. And I'm still friends with them all. A
Oh,
lot of people say, "Oh,
okay.
we're friends." I'm still friends with loads of Big Brother people, and you almost become like this brother and sister.
Oh,
You have that kind of relationship. It's fantastic. And the pantomime, yeah, I spent a lot of time with Jade Goody, and that was kind of sad after she passed away.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Oh, that's
That was so long ago.
and
Really,
you
it's a really
guys are
sad
like,
time.
you must be a family that you've created those memories together. No one can ever take that away. That's you
Yes,
guys have gone through
exactly,
that
exactly.
experience together.
Yes.
So Big Brother, obviously amazing start of the kind of fame and career, and thrown into that. So after Big Brother, let's talk about that. What did you get up
Yeah,
to?
well, the thing was to get a career. It wasn't just to get famous and that was it. It
Yeah,
was obviously you've got to make the most of it. There was
mm,
no social media around in those days, and I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing because I would have been trolled to hell, but I would have made some money
yeah,
because all the reality TV contestants make their money from the social media. You never make money in TV or radio, which always surprises people. That unless you're Ant and Dec, otherwise you're not making money. So I
yeah,
did get my own show, Undercover Lovers.
yeah.
I did my own radio show. I had my own column in the Sunday Mail. I wrote a book. I got loads of stuff. Honestly, just so much stuff. I
What
look
was your
back
book?
and I
What
remember, I think, wow.
What was your book called?
Oh, the unauthorized edition of Big Brother, something like that. It was a
Oh,
Big Brother book. It's all about behind the scenes. So
Oh,
that's that one. But then going forward, it was a case of I really wanted to do more TV radio. And
yeah.
I do feel being an Indian woman, they weren't ready for that. And
Mm,
what they saw is me and an Indian woman, very strong, very liberated, very forthright with her opinions, not scared.
yes.
TV couldn't handle it. So when I'd go to the mainstream, even though I was famous mainstream didn't want to know me.
Right.
Then the other problem was Indian channels didn't want to know me because
Yeah.
I was too much.
Yeah.
So I was too much for the Indians, and there were no way. Now I look at like Natasha Sandhu on Instagram. She's she's lovely,
Yeah.
really lovely girl, and she gets all the collaborations with the saris and the jewelry and all of that. But
Yeah.
when I wanted that, they said, no, you're too sexy. We can't have sexy in Indian. You're too sexy for Indian. We can't have you go to the English. When I go to the English, they say, no, you're too opinionated. You're not the Indian girl we thought you'd be. I couldn't fit in. I just didn't fit in. It was actually quite like sad. It was frustrating.
Now, obviously, you probably would be more, because like
Now I would, but now now they've got in like is it Sarah Khan from The Apprentice? She happened about 4 or 5 years after my Big Brother, and then they loved that because then they were ready for the strong opinion. But then you got the Sarah Khan, and then when you got the bubbly side, then you got the winner of Great British Bake Off. What's her name? Nadia. The one who, So then with English, with mainstream, once they've got their token brown person, they've got that person. They won't go for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I was way ahead of that, and I never got in. I just never got in.
Wow. Well, you know what? You've gone on to better things. So, and obviously you've got a great family and things like that. So let's talk about Narinder's Nuptials. So what does this entail? How did it start? Tell us all about it.
Oh God. Right. Okay. So Narinder's Nuptials. I've actually done rishte. So I've been a patolli. That's the Indian with the Punjabi name for a matchmaker. And I've done that in my personal life with relatives and family and whoever. And I've done it quite successfully with like 2 or 3 people, as in they've got married. And I've done it, I've matched up people. I'm always matching up people. Then I watched Matchmaker on Netflix. And I thought, oh my God, I do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I've got so much traffic on my Facebook and I've got so much traffic on my Instagram and Twitter. It just makes sense to put it out there. Male 36, looking for a girl, whatever. I thought that's just easy. No. It's not been easy. It has been. People are so fussy.
Oh,
I can't get over how fussy people are.
So much choice, isn't there?
Well, I think what's happening is they're going on the apps and then they're talking to 5 or 6 people at the same time, and then they think they can brush that person off, and then by the end of October they've been ghosted by everyone else, so then they come back to you and then they're talking to that person, then they're talking to that person. They're very. And I think expectations compared to I've been married, 25 years it was a couple of weeks ago, and I've been with them nearly 30 years.
Wow.
And you've got to compromise. I had to compromise. But young Indian girls these days, well, I say young, these are in their 30s, are very much, well, we don't need to compromise, and we want the best, and we don't need to, and I'm happy on my own if I have to be, but he's got to be A, B, C, D, E, F. And I can get them A, B, C, D, E, F, but if I get them Z, then they're like, no way, I'm pulling it off. And the guys aren't as fussy, but they're very confused. So Narinder's Nuptials is up and running, but it's challenging.
Wow, it's great to have a new challenge though. So you just need to so how do you work it? Do you get a few guys and you learn their personality and then you match them with a girl, or?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So I wanted to do it the way I did my patolli style, how I did it in my personal life. I get to know them a lot first, so I will spend time talking to them on the phone, and the girls. So they'll phone me if they're interested. So, really get to know them. And it's weird because the guys, when they first call, I think, oh God. But as I get to know them, they're really lovely. Right. Whereas the girls, they're very nice to start with, but then as you get to know them, the fussiness, and then you realise, oh, this is why you may be single and you're 42.
They have like a long list of things.
Yeah, and they will not compromise on anything, so it's difficult. But I get to know them. So then at least I can then go to the guy and say, look, I know this girl. I've got to speak to, I've been speaking to her for several weeks now. And then at least I can go with something. I can't just say she's 5'4", she's a doctor, and she's this. That's nothing. You got to let you know. But then it comes to photograph stage. Yeah. And as soon as they've seen a photo, then they say no. And I think, oh my God, I've spoken. hours on the phone, and now you've said no, just from the photograph.
No,
What can you tell from a photo?
yeah, no, you can't. That's not good enough. But then that's hello, Narinder's Nuptials. That's where you come in, and you obviously work your magic.
Yes. Well, I've tried, but I'm working my rage most of the time.
Well, obviously, it's difficult in lockdown at the moment. So obviously, it's quite
That's
difficult.
the
For everyone.
problem.
So you said
Yeah.
you're in Leicester. So you didn't grow up in Leicester, did you? You grew up in
I
Newcastle.
grew up in Newcastle, and I think that was the other thing with being on TV. They couldn't cope with a Geordie Asian on top of everything else. I think that was just the nail in the coffin was just a
Oh my
Geordie as well. So yeah, I grew up in Newcastle. Was born in West Bromwich in Birmingham, but I'm raised a Geordie, and then got married in Coventry, then moved to London, and then got Big Brother, and then we had children, and then we decided to move to the Midlands to be near a family. So, my husband's family, my sister was in the Midlands, and then we kind of got stuck here. So, but I do plan on moving back to London.
So when you were growing up in Newcastle, obviously you said Asian Geordie, what was it like growing up? Because I remember my childhood, and obviously I just wondered what your childhood was being an Asian.
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. Actually, my childhood, and this is probably the reason why I wanted to be famous, I suffered because I grew up in Newcastle and the northeast end and North Tyneside, and I was the only brown child in the whole school. In first school, middle school, and second school, there was no other Indian. There was no other black. There was no colour. I was the only colour, and as a result of that, I experienced a lot of racism. And it really did affect me. But it affected me in the sense that they'd always ignore me. They'd always call me names. They'd always call me the P word day in, day out. And in my head, I thought, I'm going to make them regret that. I'm going to become famous, and my name would be Narinder. It won't be the P word. And I'm going to get so famous that they're going to regret all these names and how they bullied me all this time. That was the point where I decided I was going to be famous, was the constant racial abuse. I had so much racial abuse. If my kids had that now, I'd be, God, I'd die. I'd be doing things about it. Back in the day, racism was just far too accepted. And people were like, it was just accepted, like, oh well, it's just one of those things. And they would think they're not being racist. It was normal to call someone a P word. It was normal to say, oh, this, that, and the other. It just seemed normal. Even after Big Brother, and I went to see my mum, I remember going for a jog, and someone said, there's the P girl from Big Brother. That was 20 years later. So, racism is a big part in my life, in the sense that I've suffered it. I continue to suffer it. My kids will suffer it, and I will continue to fight it. That was it. That was the spark. That was a spark that I needed.
So where did you meet your husband then? So how did you guys meet?
So we met in the first week of university, in Freshers Week.
Oh, really?
And I remember going away to uni. Back in the day, it was very strict. I know people always have this impression that my parents mustn't have been strict because they let me do Big Brother. I was married when I did Big Brother. So it was more of a case, even though it was not up to my husband, but I still got my brother's permission. My brother was older than me. So I still got my mum and my brother's permission. Can I do Big Brother? So when I met my husband, it was first week at uni, Freshers Week. I hadn't even gone on any dates in my life before, because obviously I'd grew up in a strict Indian, house. And then I go away to uni thinking I'm going to live this free life, be wild and see guys. And I meet my husband like on the second night.
Oh, goodness.
And I was just like, oh my God. And then that was it. We got married after uni. So
that's amazing. Oh, it's such a love story, though, because 25 years is that's an accomplishment.
So I met him when I was, we married when I was 23, met him when I was 19, and I'm 48 now. So it's, So don't get me wrong.
Oh my goodness. You do not look 48.
I'm 48.
Wow.
So with my husband, this is the other thing with Narinder's Nuptials, because I end up training these people, I end up coaching them, like life coaching them, because I've got the marriage behind me. I said, but that's not how it works in a marriage. You have to, with a marriage, my marriage has not been smooth. My marriage has been, we've had so many ups and downs. Big Brother nearly broke us. So many things nearly broke us, to be honest. There'd be all kinds of stuff written, and people say things and constantly, oh, Narinder this, Narinder that. And that's hard for a man to take. It's hard for our marriage to take. We hadn't had kids yet. Then we had kids, and by that time, my parents had passed away. My husband's parents were elderly. We didn't have family help, and that caused a lot of pressure having children. But all along the way, you learn and you grow and you compromise, and it's not just about you. It's about give and take in a relationship, and it's about getting to know each other. You're constantly changing. In a marriage, it's not, I'm not the person I was when he met me. He's not the person he was when I met him. You change and you grow. It doesn't mean you just, walk out on a marriage and give up. There's too much of that. Having said that, there probably was times when we probably should have broke up. It got too much fighting, too much this. But then we've had a lot of tragedy. My parents passed away, his parents passed away, my brother passed away last year, and that brings you closer.
Yes.
So you become closer because we've gone through so much tragedy together. So you become closer. So yeah, being married many, many years, and it's not a walk in the park. It's not a picnic.
And I think that's what people forget. Like, marriage it's a constant effort. You're constantly trying. And I think when people, obviously for you, you're trying to get people together and dating, and you're trying to say to them, well, it's a mission. It's like a marathon, not
I do, and they say it shouldn't be. And they goes, well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a mission. It should be easy, and it shouldn't be hard work. They may have a point, but that's not how I was raised. They may have a point. The marriage should maybe be easier, but that's not how I was raised. I was raised, you don't give up, you don't walk out, you've got children, and you work at something. And if you can work at a marriage, or if you can't work at a relationship, then none of your relationships work in life. You're the kind of person that will give up on your brother or sister or your friendships. I do tend to find that the people who can't make the marriage, they can't make a friendship last because it's too disposable. Relationships are I'll find another friend. I'll go out with that friend. I'll get another boyfriend. I'll get another girlfriend. Everything's too disposable these days. There's no loyalty.
Yeah. So you're changing that, and you're paving the way.
Well, I'm trying, but they don't listen. I'm like the auntie now. I'm like the auntie that they don't listen to.
No. Oh my goodness. So what advice would you have for women out there? Any dating advice, from your experience with your company?
Okay, so my advice would be you're looking for 10 out of 10. Then you think you're going to compromise at 9. You're not going to get any of that. You're going to get about 80% because a man is a man. Yeah, you have to. A man's a man. Yeah, no matter what. Yeah, you got to compromise. And my advice is, don't take it from the first, second, third date. I didn't actually. When I met my husband, I know I said I met him on this first week of uni, but we actually didn't start dating until 6 months after, because I got to know him. And had I met my husband on that first time at uni and taken from there, I would never have married him. I never fancied him. Because that's the thing. They all say, oh, well, I've got to have an attraction. Oh, God, I know from the photograph if I'm attracted. I didn't fancy my husband till 6 months after I met him, because I got to know him. He started making me laugh. He got my attention. And that was 6 months after. Yeah. So where they think that they can find attraction from a photograph, I don't know.
Yeah.
So my advice is really get to know the person, and don't be looking for bad points. Look for the good. Because we've all got bad points. Yeah. I've got bad points. You've got bad points. We have all got bad points. Look at some good points. Try, like when me and my husband argue, I have to go to bed that night, even though I'm angry and vengeful and hate him. I have to go to bed and think, yeah, I do. I can hate my husband. He hates me at times. But I go to bed and think, I remember the good stuff.
Yeah.
My God, you'll never get anywhere in life if you constantly think of what you hate.
That's so true. So true. Oh my goodness, Narinder, thank you so much for being so honest.
I think I've talked and talked.
Oh no, but you've been so honest, and thank you so much. And how can everyone get in touch with you on social media and follow your journey, or get help with any dating?
Well, just on my Instagram. They can follow me on Instagram, is the one that I'm mainly on, and that's at Narinder22. So Instagram's the main one that can get me on.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ariana. Thank you so much. You're so sweet.